that's Nigerian. I just moved. I just moved from Nigeria. I'm happy to be here. Thank you. I feel welcome. But I must say I was deceived. You know, no. Canada is a lovely place, but before I came, my frame of reference for Canadians was Ryan Reynolds and Justin Trudeau. Those were the pictures I would see when I Google Canadians. You know, then I land at the airport in Pearson and I get to the CBSA. And I keep on looking at my ticket. I know I didn't buy a ticket to Mumbai. It was confusing. I planned to visit India much later in my life, you know. But I quickly found out it's a very multicultural city. Lots of love. Lots of couples. I see couples. You know? Love. And it just reminds me of a privilege I do not have. Love. Yeah. You guys fall in love for the sake of falling in love. I can't just give out love. That's something I invest for something in return. Citizenship. Yeah. That's the first thing I did when I landed. I caught me a white girl. Now, listen, don't get me wrong. I love my Nubian sisters, don't get me wrong. But I'm not taking no chances. When you see the blue eyes, you know the passport is blue. So I went for the white girl. Don't worry about her age, it doesn't matter. No, I promise you she still has a few years in her. I'm joking, I thought she'd see a year. No, she's young, beautiful. You know, and in spending time with her, I'm getting to understand a bit more, you know, about Canadian culture. I'm learning a lot. But it took me a while to get her. You know, I didn't know the difference between wooing a white lady and wooing a Nigerian lady. With the Nigerian lady, it's different. You know, you gotta have style, panache, pizzazz. You know, when you come and you talk, you gotta come correct. She has to see you and see a protector, a provider. And so when you come, you have to be confident. When I see my Nigerian women, I'm like, hey, beautiful, I will marry you. They're like that. I tried it with a white lady. They were looking at me like I was stupid. Because the style is different. No, they like panache. They like style as well. But you know, you gotta tone it down. Be romantic. Be soft. You know, cheeky lines. We all know it's all lies. But we tell it regardless. Yeah, I learned. Sherway Gardens, I saw one. I knew she was the one. I walked up to her, I said to her, hey, you know, what time have you? And she was about to tell me the time, and I cut her short. I said, don't bother, I just wanted to hear you speak. Because all the while I thought you were just an angel over there. So you're real. She smiled. But I knew I wasn't going to get anywhere with that. At best, I could get her Instagram. So I had to double down. And I said to her, if you had told me the time and we had the same time, I would have been surprised. Because you're out of this world. She smiled. She liked that. I got the number. And then the love story kicked off. We started spending time together. And then I started realizing a lot of misconceptions. When she sees me, a Nigerian, she just thinks of me as her warrior. You know? Maybe she thinks I've been fighting wild animals. But she doesn't even understand that I scare easy. Oh, she put my courage to the test. We went to Rexdale Mall. January. Together. It was snowing. And when it snows, the pathway, you know, it's slimmer. And we were together walking down. And then there's this white guy I see marshalling towards us. Now I'm smart. The first thing I noticed, he inked his earlobes. Now these guys are really soft. If you ink your earlobes, I should be scared of you. Now, he doesn't look like he's about to give way, so I tried to pull her away, but she's not giving way. Because she's a white woman that knows her right. Where I come from, that doesn't exist. And so he bumps into her, and she's pissed, and then she curses. He looks at her, avoids her, looks at me. I don't know what this masculine energy is, but he forgets about who actually insulted him. He looks at me and says he will fuck me up. I had nothing to do with all of this. But I had to protect her, so I said, hey, don't talk shit. He said he was going to punch me in the clavicle. Clavicle? I didn't even know I had a clavicle. My white girlfriend is looking at me like, are you going to take this? I'm looking at her like, those threats are quite specific. This guy knows what he's talking about. He knows what he's saying. Because he went on the rant, said he was going to stamp me on my arteries till it clogs. That guy knows some shit that I don't know. I'm not going to risk my life. I know. I scare easy. I didn't just find out when I moved here. I knew all the way in Nigeria that I scare easy. In Nigeria, there's something called military service. It's compulsory, 1 year, you serve the military. Now, in serving the military, all graduates from university, you go there, you do it for 1 year. Now, something called the Road Safety Commission, they come and they say, hey, we're going to do a test, get all your blood types, and we're going to put it on your driver's license. So if ever you are in an accident, we know the type of blood you need. Now, they do the test. 3 days later, I find out that my blood is really rare, my blood type. But guess what? There's a dwarf that has the same blood type with me. Now, when I say dwarf, I mean dwarfism is a condition. It's not I'm not saying it in a derogatory term. But he was, a really small dwarf. Like to a dwarf, he was a midget. But we bonded over the fact that we had the same blood type. And it was like an unspoken understanding. If you ever need blood. The youth service ends 1 year, 2 years, 6 years later, I get a call from this guy. I'm excited. It's been a while. I'm about to pick it. And I realize he needs blood. But I'm not so bothered because, he's a dwarf. How much blood would he really need? Do we even need a syringe? Open your mouth. Yeah, judge me. But you must understand that the idea of a dwarf needing blood was alien to me. The idea of a dwarf being ill. I never knew that dwarfs could fall ill. I've never seen a dwarf in a hospital. Never. All my life. And then you're telling me that a dwarf could die? Dwarfs die? Has anyone here been to a dwarf's funeral? Exactly. I always just thought that they ascended to heaven as little angels. Serious. This is real stuff. It turns out that he doesn't even need blood. He needs a kidney, but he needs the blood to match. Now, I'm not a man to put a man down when he's already down. But there's no way I'm giving you my kidney. So I had to let him down easy. So I said, hey, look, I won't give you up. The sizes. It's not a perfect match. I scare easy. And I do not even know if it's being a coward or it's me being selfish. I hardly give things. I remember 2022, the longest bridge in Nigeria is called the Third Mainland Bridge. I had a car accident. My car flipped, burst into flames. Wreckage. It was a miracle that I came out. Now I am passed out. There's an Uber driver. He comes. He drags me out of the car. I'm unconscious. It's 3 months later that he tells me all of this. This is how it happened. My goodness. I felt a wave of gratitude. And I looked at him and I said, hey, thank you so much. I kept on thanking him. And he said, don't thank me. You would have done the same for me. I doubt that.